Today, we are talking about something I think a lot of stay-at-home moms are carrying without having a name for it. It's not exactly burnout or depression or even a lack of gratitude. It's something quieter than all of that. It's the feeling that sneaks in on a random midday in the afternoon when the kids are finally napping and the house is still. Out of nowhere, you think about the woman you used to be, the career you stepped away from, the friendships that quietly faded away, the version of yourself that had a schedule and a title and a sense of purpose that other people could see. You feel something like you didn't expect to feel, something that feels like loss. In that quiet moment, the guilt shows up. How can I grieve something I chose to step away from? What kind of mom misses her old life? Why am I not just grateful? I should be grateful. Sister, I need you to hear this today. You are allowed to grieve what you left behind and still love the life you're living. Both things are true. Today, we are going to talk about the grief that overstimulated stay-at-home moms don't know they're carrying, why nobody warned you it was coming, and 3 ways to finally let it go so you can lose it and stop it from weighing you down. Are you tired of holding everything together, feeling like you have to do it all alone, and want simple steps to feel supported? Do you want to have guiltless rest and finally feel like yourself? You're in the right place. Hey sis, I'm Dorcas, a Christian, a life coach, a called mom, and your safe place to be seen. I learned the secret to rediscovering my identity and feeling like me again through small, intentional shifts that brought clarity and confidence back into my life. If you're ready to stop feeling like you've lost yourself in motherhood, be confident again. So whether you're listening while staring at an old work photo, on your phone wondering who that woman was, or driving to pick up the kids with the last 5 minutes to yourself before the noise starts again, turn up the volume, sister, and let's have a chat. Before we get started, if you've been feeling like you're doing this season alone and just need someone who gets it, I want to invite you into my free email community. It is a space built specifically for Christian stay-at-home moms who are tired of feeling unseen and unsupported. Every week, I share encouragement, scripture, and practical tools to help you feel more grounded and more like yourself again. Because it's not about managing your home. It's about restoring your peace. Scripture reminds us that God is not a God of confusion or overwhelm, but of peace. Sometimes we just need help bringing that peace back into our everyday lives. My sweet sister, you don't have to keep doing this alone. Sign up for the email with the link in the show notes. I want to tell you about a moment that caught me completely off guard. It was a little over a year into my stay-at-home mom season. Things were good. The kids were healthy. I had a good family schedule, and on the surface, nothing was wrong. Out of nowhere, I got an email, a work update from a former employee. Now, of course, this was kind of odd because I was no longer working for the company, so I shouldn't be receiving emails. But I think because we were working on a big project together, I just happened to still be in the list of emails that were sent out. The project they had been working on had completed and they were doing a milestone celebration. And it was a project that I helped influence. I sat there reading the email and I felt something I didn't expect. It wasn't jealousy, at least not exactly. Just this achy soreness in the pit of my stomach. Like something that used to be a part of me but was no longer a part of me, and it was moving on without me. Then the guilt came faster and harder. I thought to myself, you chose to be a stay-at-home mom. You wanted this. What is wrong with you? I closed the email and went back to washing the dishes. I didn't talk about it, that feeling I had. I didn't share it with my husband. I didn't tell any of my friends. I told nobody because how could I explain that the love of a life I currently had was great, but I still missed the one that I left? How do you say out loud, I chose my kids and I would choose them again, but I'm also grieving something that I used to do that felt real. It felt like a betrayal to even think about it. Here's what I've learned since then. Grief doesn't care whether you've made the choice willingly. Loss is loss. Even when it comes wrapped up in something beautiful like getting to be home with your children. Carrying unacknowledged grief is one of the heaviest things an overstimulated stay-at-home mom can do, because you're not just carrying the weight of who you left behind, you're carrying the weight of something you never gave yourself permission to mourn. Can you relate? Here are the 3 things that help me release that weight and what I would encourage you to start doing. Number 1, name it as grief. It is not a lack of gratitude. So many stay-at-home moms are carrying silently real grief. Grief over the career, grief over the loss of friendships, the identity, the freedom, the version of themselves that existed before the season of motherhood began. And that's legitimate because we only grieve things that mattered. The fact that you miss part of your old life doesn't mean you made a wrong choice becoming a stay-at-home mom. It means that those things had value to you. It means you were someone before you became a mom, and that someone deserves to be honored, not buried. The problem is that most moms never name it as grief. You're not ungrateful. You're not weak. You don't need to push through this. Unnamed grief doesn't just go away. It just gets buried deep inside of you. And then it bubbles up as irritability and resentment, emotional flatness, and low hums of sadness that you just cannot explain. So, what you can start doing to heal this properly. Give yourself 5 minutes to write down what you're actually grieving. Not what you should feel, but what you actually feel. Maybe it's career growth. You're grieving the fact that you're not growing a career anymore. Maybe you went to school, got degrees, and had this beautiful plan of developing this career, and now that's not on the table at this season. Maybe it's lunch dates with your work friends, getting a chance to catch up on their lives and understand what's going on with them as you share things with them. Maybe it's a version of yourself who had time to think and enjoy the fruits of her labor. Whatever it is, write it down, sis. Write it down and name it, because you cannot heal what you will not acknowledge. Second, allow the grief without letting it become a verdict. Here is the line that took me the longest to find. You can grieve your old life without deciding the current one is wrong. Grief and gratitude are not opposites. You can miss who you were and still love who you are becoming. You can mourn what you stepped away from and still believe this season is sacred and purposeful. You can feel the loss without it meaning you made a mistake. Ecclesiastes 3 tells us that there's a time for everything. A time to tear down and a time to rebuild. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to keep and a time to throw away. I don't think God designed you to skip the mourning stage. I think He designed you to move through it so you could heal. When the grief shows up, and it will, try saying this: I'm allowed to feel this. This feeling is not a verdict on my life. God is blessing this season. I need to step in faith and release the pain. Let it move through you instead of parking inside of you. Grief that is allowed to be felt is grief that is allowed to heal. Okay, number 3. Rediscover what you carried into this season. Here is something that got lost in translation that nobody talks about. You didn't leave yourself behind when you became a stay-at-home mom. You brought her with you. Her skills, her gifts, her personality, her drive, all of that came with you in this season. It just looks a little different now. So the woman who led meetings now leads a household. The woman who solved problems at work now navigates sibling conflict and emotional regulation within her child's development. The woman who built relationships with colleagues now builds the foundation of her children's entire world. She's still here. She didn't disappear. She just got redirected. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us that God has plans for you, not the version of you that used to exist, but for you right here, right now, in this season. After you finish completing step number 1, I would like you to write down 3 strengths you had before this season. Write down how each of one shows up in your life as a stay-at-home mom today. When you can see for yourself clearly, the grief starts to make room for something else. It's not a replacement. It's not pretending the loss wasn't real. Just a quiet realization that you are still here, still her, and still becoming. I want to take a moment and share with you something that has been inspirational in my life for years. It is a story of a walking tree. A walking tree is a unique palm tree that is found in Central and South America rainforest. The legend of the walking tree is that the roots are above the ground and it gives off the illusion that it is actually walking on top. Since the roots are above ground, they are fully exposed, and as the tree is navigating itself on top of the surface, it does give this illusion that it's walking. What is neat about the walking tree is this illusion is created as it is moving closer to the light or moving closer to a better, healthier source for itself by creating another root stem in front of it. As that root stem is growing and it gets solid into the ground, the tree starts to shift its whole trunk system towards that new root. Well, in order for the illusion to continue, it needs to release the roots that are no longer serving it, usually the roots behind it. As it starts to shift, it does move essentially because the root system above the ground has developed a different direction, a different route, therefore needing to release the roots that are behind it. Now we can go into what science says about this, but what I find really interesting about the walking tree is that the root that it releases behind it is usually a damaged root. It's rotted or it has encountered some obstacle that interferes with the tree's growth and development. So as it's growing new roots in front of it, those roots are flexible and they always grow with stability to reach sunlight. Why do I share this with you? Sister, we have to learn that the Lord is guiding us in every capacity of our life. And sometimes the person that we used to be is considered to be a damaged root. Maybe it is hit obstacles that have gotten in the way of your future growth and development. And in order for you to move forward like that walking tree, you gotta let the old roots go. Trust in the Lord. Trust in His guidance. Trust that as you are developing new roots in front of you, you are getting new stability and reaching towards the sunlight. So today, if you've been carrying a grief you didn't feel like you were allowing to name, I want you to remember this. First, naming it as grief is not a lack of gratitude. You only grieve things that matter, and what you left behind, it mattered. Second, allow the grief without letting it become a verdict. You can miss who you were and love who you are becoming, because both are true. Third, rediscovering what you carried into this season. You didn't leave yourself behind. She came with you. Look up the image of a walking tree. I just really want you to see how neat it is. And remember that you, like that tree, are growing roots in front of you and moving forward towards the light. You are allowed to grieve what you left, and you are allowed to love where you are. Start there. Hey mama, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who is deep in the chaos and could use it today? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Remember, you are my inspiration, so your review lets me know I'm blessing you. Don't forget, set up automatic downloads so you'll never miss an episode. Alrighty, I'm off to dance to the exit music, top off my iced coffee, and pretend I didn't just hear, "Where's Mom?" being yelled from the other room. I'll meet you soon for another episode. Bye, beautiful.